Hello, my name is Jussi Sjölund and I'm the producer of this video from Byske River. This river gives a real challenge to the fly fisherman when it comes to wading and casting. This, in combination with the beautiful sceneries, attracts many fishermen. Welcome to Byske.
Byske, water with many faces, distant, deceptive, gentle beauty. Wild, raging closeness buffets and tears your body. A friendly fight, ending in welcome. Nightfall reveals a new face of this fanciful woodland sprite. Gentlest stream to torrent turns, dragging down in dangerous dance. Your steps follow Byske's rhythm of night. The light of dawn brings peace to Byske. Sunlight kills the forest shades, guides fishermen to golden beats, and mutes the roar of mighty falls. Byske's spirit renewed and revealed. When we talk about salmon fishing, the Byske River is known as the best woodland river in Sweden. Man has strangled most rivers in Sweden in his hunt for kilowatts, but the Byske River system is untouched by hydroelectric plants for the whole of its more than 200 kilometre long wandering. Most people fish for salmon in the lower reaches of the river, but we're going to start our journey high up in the source lakes. Western Kikkajaure is the largest source lake from which the Järfälla River rises. Below Western Kikkajaure, the Arvidsjaur Lake is fed by the Svärd and Långträsk rivers. In former times, locals on the way home from church fished here for salmon as they rode, often with some success. Arvidsjaur Lake is connected to Kikkajaure, the last of the source lakes, and it's from here that the Byske River's 140 kilometres starts, and you only need 2 fishing licenses for the entire length. The upper parts fall quite gently, the long, calm stretches interspersed with short rapids. but you can also find some falls. Cax Falls provide some spectacular cascades at the start of the season when the water's high. Some calm stretches are as big as lakes, and at Oselet, the river has formed an exciting and ever-changing delta. This is a popular place to catch whitefish around midsummer. The river continues its gentle journey from Oselet to Fellfors. There are lots of deep, slow-moving sections, and the river doesn't fall very much. In the last stretch before Fellfors, the river has worked itself into the loose sand to create sizable meanders. These steep, loose slopes appear in several places along the course of the river. The river changes character at Fellfors, and we meet rapid after rapid, the one more fierce than the other. Dropper Falls is one of these marvellously beautiful fishing spots, but you need a cool head when wading, as the currents are powerful, and it can sometimes be a very long way to the next calm stretch. Salmon is a popular spot for fishing, with lots of space for anglers and some challenging wading waters. The stretch between Fellfors and the estuary in Byske offers outstanding fishing for the fly fisherman, who can get his fill of fishing delights and challenges in the pearly necklace of pools, each one different. At times, it's hard to decide where you're going to fish. There are well-known, popular stretches where you can meet comrades in arms. But if you want to be a loner with a pool all to yourself, you can sidle off to less well-known places, and there are plenty of spots guaranteed to match everyone's wishes. And when it comes to those fishing licenses, Biscuit offers really unique possibilities.
Ja, alltså Byskeälvens fiskevårdsområde är ett av landets största fiskevårdsområden. I sitt slag är det störst när det handlar om laxfisket. Man kan nu lösa fiskekort på en sträcka av 10 mil inom det här området. Genom 2 laxtrappor som finns nere i Fällforsen hoppas vi nu kunna få upp lax ända hit till exempel Långforsen där vi sitter nu. Det ligger flera mil från kusten. Förut var det ett naturligt hinder i Fällforsen där laxtrapporna nu är, och det ligger cirka 3 mil från kusten. Men nu hoppas vi kunna få faktiskt lax ända inom Arjeplogs kommun. Den ska kunna vandra upp i en sjö faktiskt som heter Alljard.
Tori Nielsen is one of the best-known local fishermen. He likes to move quietly in the rapids and visit his own secret favourite spots, which other fishermen don't notice as they pass by.
var så pigg ut. Alla tacka fisken.
The Byske River is surrounded by beautiful scenery, and there are not many inhabited villages or homes. Nevertheless, there's a large choice of accommodation for the fishermen. There are several campsites, lots of private huts for hire, a salmon fishing lodge and an inn. This means that you can always find something to match everyone's tastes. The fishing season on the Biscuit depends on the weather and the water level. But usually the largest numbers of salmon, especially large fish, appear at the start of the season. The water's often quite cold and high, so you fish with sinking lines and tube flies, preferably brass tubes. Further on in the season, after midsummer, the water level has fallen, and we get smaller runs of grilse which carry on all summer. Now's the time for floating lines and small flies. In August, the occasional large fish might appear among the smaller salmon, but above all, it's the river's autumn trout that attract the fishermen. You need to be able to read the water to get the most out of your fishing. And Mickey Anderson, a regular visitor, has developed his knowledge of the Biscuit over many years. He spends a lot of time travelling the river, fishing his favourite beats. If he doesn't get a bite, he moves on to the next spot and returns to previous beats later for another attempt. A fish bites from a small hole in a rapid. Mickey has yet another salmon to play.
Han var inne nät.
Man first came to the Byske River a long time ago. A dig in Garaselet found one of Scandinavia's oldest settlements, dating from 6000 BC. 8,000 years ago, the climate was much warmer, and hunting and fishing provided a living for the riverside people. Salmon fishing has always been important. The first time the name Biscuit is mentioned in records is in a testament from 1337, when half the salmon fishing at Bredhabiskio was willed to an heir. Organised and licensed fishing started in the 1950s, and today fishermen from far and wide travel to the Byske River. And it's something other than fishing for food that attracts them. The Loop Salmon Fishing School with Göran Andersson is here. Göran likes his beats to present a challenge, and the Byske River provides lots of complications which must be dealt with.
Look there, salmon over there.
Before choosing a fly to fish the Byske River, consult the local experts who've spent many seasons on the river and have tried lots of different flies. One of the most used flies is the usual one. Anders Cederberg will show us how he ties his own variation.
Ja, jag tänker binda en fluga som heter den vanliga och ett otroligt framgångsrikt mönster i Byske älv. Jag tänker binda den på mitt sätt och det är på en halvtums koppartub som jag tycker är väldigt bra att fiska med i början av säsongen.
Tie in the thread in the middle of the tube so that there's room for other material. Take some yellow and orange foxhair and tie in together. The yellow should be a little shorter than the orange. Tie in the hair forwards and then turn it back over the tube. Fix the lower wing with a few turns of thread. Tie in a blue hackle and give it 3 to 4 turns. Fix it with some thread. Anders has a method to get the wings to lie correctly. Pull the lower wing forward slowly so that it's almost standing straight up. Take some brown foxhair for the upper wing. It should be a little longer than the lower wing. Tie in the hair in the same way as the lower wing, facing forward. Put a few strands of holographic gold flash in the wing. Now for that little extra. Divide the upper wing into 2. Bend one part backwards and fix it with 2 turns of thread. Tie in another blue hackle and turn it 3 to 4 times. Take the other half of the upper wing and turn it backwards. Spread the hair around the tube so that it makes a roof over the upper wing and the hackle. Brush any loose hairs from the wing.
Ja, om ni nu kommer till Byske så ska ni ha med den vanliga i bagaget för det är en väldigt giftig fluga och den har tagit väldigt stora laxar på. Godis för lax.
The usual one is very popular in Byske and is tied in many different colours. Biscuit's water often has a light brown humus colour, so that other flies used are thunder and lightning and gary, which match the colour of the woodland river quite well. During the latter part of the season, when the water's low and clear, a redbutt, sizes 8 and 10, is a good fly to use. Anders is fishing from Norman's Meadows, a little upstream from Byske. In the fast-flowing waters at the start of the season, he uses a sinking line and copper tube to get deep down and to slow down the fly. Yes, the usual has done its work, and Anders has a sizable salmon to fight.
Så här ser en byskelax ut, grabbar. En riktig fisk. Vad tar i munnen det blir. Ja, jag vet du. Ja. Salmon. Ja!
There's no such thing as a routine fish for Anders. The excitement is always just as great, and at the height of your ecstasy, you can easily swallow whatever you have in your mouth.
Så kanon, vet du. Va? Så kanonbra, vet du. Oj. Jag ska aldrig plattplugga den där. Kolla kroken. Det här är en halvtums koppartub. Men man kan ju ha mässing också. De är lite lättare.
The Byske River has never been tamed for hydroelectric schemes, but many years ago the river was adapted for logging. An old cycle track takes us to Storforsen, where we can see the stone buttresses used to guide the timber. There's even an old rafters hut. Enthusiasts have put in a lot of work to return the river to its original state, but some traces of log driving have been kept to remind us of a time gone by. The river looked different many years ago, and in these shots from 1939 we can see the Byske Dam, which was swept away in the floods of 1972. Fishing was mostly with nets, but a few people used rods. We are still surprised by the large ice floes that build up some winters, but these are not unusual. The exceptionally cold winter of 1939 to 1940 provided very large flows, however. Carl Gustaf Markström has much to tell about the Byske River. His brother was one of the first fly fishermen as early as the 1940s.
Och då passade han på då laxen hoppade. Då for han ofta in på där det var torrt och inga vatten var. Då låg han som stilla där och då brukade farsan springa ner och ta upp dem. Jag måste ju berätta om byxorna han hade. Det var ju något speciellt han hade. Min mor att göra speciella byxor med vida ben. Och där fickorna var, där var det inga fickor utan det var blindfickor så att de fick ner handen. Då släppte de ner laxen efter benen och då gick efter en speciell bom. De gick på då de jobbade. Upp till en smed, de kallar det smedjan. Då bar de in laxarna där. Och ibland var det många stora laxar, 10 och 11 kilo var det ju inget ovanligt.
Fin fisk. Det känns bra.
There's never usually any problem talking to the local people, except when they use the local dialect. This is illustrated by the well-known Byske River, a folk song performed here by Gunnar Öström and Walter Lundmark. Swedish townies don't understand much of this.
Och pappa men hajtjanne och ger omåttligt rik. 9000 hove kräka, 300 får som bräka och 40 kor som läka när de är gödseldik. Och ingen människ kan väl tro och bönren får lägg och glo att mjölken 30-40 kor är där man inte fort. Och har man 40 grisar sen som skrev som harsken dan igen, då vet man bara fall i sken och spring från fysen bort.
In parts, the Byske River can be difficult for fly fishing. If you're used to the open landscapes of the Norwegian rivers, you'll be surprised by how restricted Biscuit can be. The banks are steep, and often you can only wade out a couple of steps before it's too deep. Skogfors illustrates the toughest challenges of the Byske River, especially when the water's running high at the start of the season. You really need to work some magic with your rod to get the line out and fish effectively.
Jag får simma lite. Oj, oj.
Här sitter jag vid Byskeälven, enda chansen att få träffa min sambo under juni månad. Men jag trivs ganska bra för jag har fått min första fisk i stort sett på vare sig det gäller kastspö eller flugspö. Jag fick en lax på 5,2 kilo. Och det var mycket rolig kamp för den rusade 100 meter. Och jag fick landa den själv fastän min sambo försökte rycka spö i hand på mig. Men det gick bra. Så jag trivs.
Salmon plays an important role in Fällfors. Some years ago, the salmon themselves were economically important, but now the salmon are part of an exciting event for tourists and locals. Only small numbers of salmon are caught, and when it's time to catch salmon with the traditional nets, everyone is there to watch the action and have a good time. At one time, the Fällfors Falls were easier for the salmon to pass, but when changes were made for log driving, an obstacle was created. An old salmon trap on the south bank of the river, used by the locals, was adapted as a ladder to help the salmon upstream, but it didn't work at all times. A major investment has now taken place, with salmon ladders on the north bank and a salmon observatory which lets you watch the salmon on the way up to their spawning grounds. Hopefully, the new ladder will allow the salmon to populate all the old spawning grounds higher up the river, so that fishing above Fällfors will be even better. When in Fällfors, you must visit one of nature's own wonders, the Maranäs ravine. A small spring bubbles out of the earth. It's been running for a long time and worked its way deeper and longer down to form a beautiful ravine. During a week's fishing, You can change flies lots of times, depending on your success or otherwise. If the bites are few and far between, you can get desperate and the changes of fly occur more and more often. Parts of the Byske River are difficult to fish and make great demands on the fly fishermen. Apart from the fierce rapids, the difficult wading and the thick vegetation, all of which make casting problematic, you still have to place your fly correctly and find the fish. There are lots of fish in the river, but there's lots of river, 140 kilometres, for the fish. The knack is to read the water and fish in the right way, in the right place, taking account of the season and the water level. Everyone wants a salmon, but even if you don't get a bite, you can still find lots to enjoy on the Byske River. There's a lot of magnificent scenery, and you may even see a beaver swimming across the river. The river has its own captivating magic, and you feel very close to nature. You're clothed in summer calm, but spring reveals your powerful self. This lifeblood of nature to husband for the future. Nature's gift to be shared by all. Nature's gift, who cares at all? Used by man for a better future, changed by man, taming nature. But now is the time to heal the wounds, to help the stream along its way. Help the salmon run for home. Time for man to pay his dues. Time for us to look ahead. The river gives boundless hope for the dale. Fishing equipment and casting techniques have developed so that we can manage most situations that arise when fishing. Communications have also developed, and reports of salmon biting spread quickly along the river. Fishing tourism is a new idea for Biscuit, but the last few years have seen an increasing number of tourists who in turn have increased the need for fishing guides. And now they need help not only with fishing, but also in finding other activities and attractions along the river.
No, exactly. Let the fly go into the bank.
Very good.
As the season draws to a close, the days have become shorter and the air and water colder. This means that apart from the fresh grilse, you can even find other fish that have been waiting in the river. They've been invisible during July, but in August they start to make themselves known.
Ja.
Fish that have stayed in holding pools can usually be found on quieter stretches, such as this one in Skogfors.
i helvete du sa. Den stadig. Hej då. Trevligt.
While the Byske River is very popular during June, there's a good chance that you can have fantastic beats all to yourself during July and August. Fishing at these times can be more demanding, what with lower water levels and higher temperatures. But if you want the pleasure of having the river to yourself, you'll be really happy. Some of the salmon you'll catch will be grilse, but there are always a few larger salmon waiting to bite. And then you could always dream of catching one of Biske's fine sea trout, an autumn giant. Sea trout should be fished during the evening or at night, but the exception proves the rule. Adrian, fishing in Landfors in the midday sun and in the Whitewater Rapids, feels the line go taut. They are a fortunate few who catch a really fine trout, but Adrian has lady luck with him, even if he doesn't realise at first that a sea trout has struck.
Ja. Ja.
During this August week, an unusually large number of trout were seen. Andreas Andersson, a young fisherman from Byske, is in his second season with a two-handed rod and has had considerable success.
Ja, jag är född och uppvuxen här bredvid Byske River och fiskar i stort sett varje dag efter lax och havsöring. Älven är rolig att fiska i med hyfsat bra fiske. Förra veckan fick jag min livs största havsöring på 7,65 kilo.
The Byske River is one of Sweden's best woodland rivers. There's plenty of space for fly fishermen along the 140-kilometre stretch, which offers an enormous variety of fishing beats. Come to Byske by yourself, with your family or with your fishing friends. The river, the salmon, they'll welcome you every year to a salmon summer on the Byske River.